Lighten up. I want the master bedroom renovated when we move into your new luxury house, she announced at Sunday brunch. My brother smiled. It's only fair. We'll be living there long term. Everyone laughed. 24 hours later, my mom called me hysterical. Dear God, Max, what is he reading on camera? My name is Max. I'm 32. Oldest son, default problem solver. The one who keeps a Google sheet for everything from rent receipts to light bulb sizes. I work in at project management, which mostly means I tell people, we said Wednesday, until Wednesday happens. I pack lunch, pay bills on time, and keep a folder on my desktop named Documents I Will Not Email Family. I learned that last one the hard way. My family runs loud. My mom raised us after the divorce. She's sweet, anxious, and keeps a drawer of birthday candles just in case. My younger brother, Brandon, is the golden one. He has a YouTube channel that he calls a brand. His girlfriend, Lila, says she's his manager, which seems to mean she records him from across the couch and tells him to push energy. They are charismatic in that slippery way where people hand them things. I saved for 8 years. Night classes. Over time, the deposit jar on my counter had a stupid label, House, because writing it down made it real. In March, my offer on a new build went through. The realtor said luxury because there's an island and the closets are legally their own zip code. I told maybe 3 people. My mom cried. She cried harder when I said, I'll still be close. I'm not moving to the moon. Then she told Brandon. Of course she did. She wanted us all to be close. We're a team, she says, like teams don't have benches. The first trigger arrived at a Sunday brunch at a place that charges extra for syrup. Mom invited everyone. Low-key, she said. It wasn't low-key. Lila showed up in sunglasses like paparazzi might be hiding behind the Mimosa Tower. Brandon ordered 3 entrees for content. I didn't plan to make any announcements. I planned to eat eggs and survive. Mom couldn't help herself. Max got the house, she said, touching my wrist like she needed an anchor. People clapped. Lila leaned back in her chair, smirk ready. Lighten up, she announced, clinking her glass with the fork. I want the master bedroom renovated when we move into your new luxury house. She didn't smile to show it was a joke. She said it like a request at a nail salon. Brandon grinned, like he was giving me a gift. It's only fair. We'll be living there long term. Forks clicked. Someone laughed too loud. Mom did that nervous giggle that always means please don't fight in public. My aunt said, oh, rich. Into her coffee. I stared at my plate and felt my mouth do the thing it does when I'm about to make a boundary and everyone is about to pretend they didn't hear it. I'm not planning to have roommates, I said. Quiet. Firm. Lila rolled her eyes behind her sunglasses. We're family, she said, like that closes all tabs. Brandon tapped his phone, already writing a caption in his head. My brother's house tour. Moving day. He winked at me. Content, bro, win-win. I switched to water. I watched the bubbles climb the glass. I reminded myself I could leave at any time. Mom rubbed my arm. We'll talk, she whispered, which usually means you'll pay. Everyone laughed again, like it was all adorable. 24 hours later, my mom called me hysterical. Dear God, Max, what is he reading on camera? Who? I said, but I knew. Brandon, she said. He's reading numbers. He's saying your mortgage amount and something about spreadsheets. He's live. People are commenting. I opened the app. There he was, my brother in a hoodie on a live stream, holding up a printout that looked familiar. My budget. The one labeled house. The ring light made him glow like a confessional priest. This is what he thinks he can afford, he told the chat, laughing. Look at this line. Furniture, $0 for now. Bro, what is this, the depression? Lila cackled off camera. The comments climbed. My stomach dropped. The folder. The one I'd shown Mom to explain interest rates. The one I had left on her coffee table because she was crying happy and said, leave it so I can look again. I muted the live and stared at the wall. I could hear myself breathing in the reflection of the turned-off TV. I didn't do anything that night. I didn't respond to texts. I didn't run to fix it. I sat in the quiet and measured the distance between my old rules and the ones I was going to need. If you're going to understand why a brunch comment and a live stream worked like a trapdoor under my feet, you need the slow file. The one labeled patterns, not drama. Mom had me at 21. Dad left when Brandon started preschool. I was the helper kid, the one who microwaved dinner while Mom finished a shift. I learned to be flexible. Flexible turns into invisible if you don't watch it, and I didn't watch it. Brandon learned to be charming. At 12, he convinced a neighbor to buy him a skateboard for a project. At 15, he convinced Mom to co-sign for a camera for school. When she couldn't, he asked me. It'll pay for itself, he said, palms up like proof. I bought the cheaper one and told him to pay me back $20 every week. He paid me back twice. He called me obsessed with money. He filmed a video called Living with a Savings Samurai. He took it down when I asked. He put it back up when his views dipped. Small things stack. At 19, I worked 2 jobs and took night classes to finish a certification. Brandon dropped a collab with a guy who later stole his login. He called me sobbing. Everything's gone, he said. I helped him write emails to support, sat with him on hold, got it back. He thanked me by posting a story. Shout out to my tech bro. It tagged a random account. He said he was keeping me private. Mom was always the referee and the amplifier. Family helps family, she'd say, eyes wet, because that's what she wanted to be true. It translated into, Max handles it. When Brandon's rent was late, she called me at 11:47 p.m. Can you just? I'll pay you back. She paid me back $50 once with a grocery store gift card. Numbers are how I was raised by chaos. They are calm to me. If I can count it, I can hold it. So yes, I keep a ledger. If you roll your eyes at that, you have never watched a shut-off notice slide under a door like a blade. 2 years ago, Mom's apartment flooded. Brandon asked if they could crash for a few days. I said yes. They brought 6 bags, 2 ring lights, a dog, and an air fryer. Days turned into weeks. Lila claimed the bedroom. They filmed at midnight. The dog ate my Ethernet cable. When I asked for $300 toward utilities, Brandon said, "You're petty if you need money from family." Lila called me landlord. They left after 53 days. I know the number because it's in the ledger. Try laughing at a number you have to stare at every night. Later, when Mom's car needed repairs, I paid $680. I didn't make a speech. I just sent the receipt. Brandon replied, "Real brothers don't keep receipts." I didn't reply because I was trying to be a real brother. That's how you keep getting robbed, by the way. You try to earn a title someone already decided you don't deserve. When I started looking at houses, I didn't tell anyone. I ran numbers like it was a hobby. I went to open houses alone and took pictures like a creep. In December, I told Mom. She cried and said, "You did this." She held my face and whispered, "You don't owe anyone anything." Then she texted Brandon, because that's muscle memory. Brandon's reaction, content. He wanted to film the search. I said no. He called me gatekeepy. Lila sent me Pinterest boards of neutral masculine master suites. She said she loved a do not disturb sign for our room. I said, "There is no our." She sent a laughing emoji and said, "Max is shy." At brunch, when she claimed the master bedroom, I felt every small thing I'd swallowed stack itself into a spine. I thought it would stop there. I thought a boundary spoken in public would echo. It didn't. The live stream made it worse. Brandon wasn't just reading my numbers. He was reading my life out loud for hearts and fire emojis. He budgeted exactly $1,200 for family help, he said, and made a face at the camera. Lila gasped like a game show contestant. "Why cap it?" "Though," she said. "That's like mean." He circled closing costs with a highlighter and said, "He thinks this is necessary. I'll just call the realtor and say I'm family." The chat flooded with ideas. Make a prank where you move in without asking. We need a 24/7 house cam. Unbox his fridge. I wasn't embarrassed. I was cold. That's the best word. The kind of cold where your fingers don't work and you can't tell if you're holding something. Mom called. I told him to delete it, she said. He blocked me from the live. Okay, I said. What are you going to do? She asked, the old code for, how will you stop the world from being messy again? Think, I said. Sleep. I slept badly. When I woke up, my phone had 27 notifications. 3 were nice. 24 were strangers telling me to share because he's your bro. 1 was Lila. Lighten up. You're making people weird by being weird. At lunch, Brandon texted, don't be mad. It's just content. Also, we need to talk about rooms. Our lease ends next month, and moving in with you would save us like $2,000. Win-win. I called him. Take the video down, I said. It's already up, he said. You can't delete live. That's the point. It's authentic. You can unlist the replay, I said. Or apologize. Apologize for what? You're buying a luxury house while your family hustles. I hustled too, I said. He sighed like I was missing the vibe. You have main character energy. Let us ride. And Lila wants to meet with an interior designer tomorrow to talk about the master. She's thinking terrazzo. No, I said. He laughed. Bro, you have to let go of control. I am letting go, I said. I'm letting go of being your safety net. He hung up. That night, my mom sent me a text. Can we all sit down? I think we need to set expectations. Love you. She puts love you at the start when she thinks I'll get mad. I said yes. I picked a time. I printed 3 things: a cease and desist template you can send for a privacy violation, a simple one-page guest agreement a lawyer friend had given me months ago, and a list of numbers with the heading, what I can afford without going under. When you have people who treat you like a credit card, you bring paper to conversations. Words float. Paper stops floating. The next day, the video doubled in views. Lila posted a TikTok of swatches. Caption, choosing vibes for our new master. Mom commented, proud of you both. And then texted me, sorry, wrong account. I counted to 10. It almost worked. By the time we sat down, I was calm. Calm like a locked file. We met at Mom's apartment because she likes to feed tension. She made a casserole and put 6 spoons on the table like spoons are neutral. The TV was on mute, an old habit from when arguments were background music. Brandon and Lila arrived 10 minutes late, ring light in a tote. No filming, I said at the door. Lila pouted. You're killing the channel. Mom shushed her with bread. Let's talk, she said. She looked at me with that pleading face that used to turn me into a human mop. I sat on my hands so I wouldn't start mopping. I put the folder on the table. Ground rules, I said. Short. Clear. Brandon took the chair across from me and leaned back like interviews were fun. Shoot. First, I said, take down the video with my budget. Stop referencing my house publicly. Don't say the address. Don't show papers. Don't show numbers. He smirked. You can't control speech. First Amendment. I slid the cease and desist across. I can control use of private documents and identifiable financial information. I can also file privacy complaints. I don't want to do that. Don't make me do that. Mom winced. Lila rolled her eyes in a full circle. It's just engagement, she said. Second, I said, no one is moving into my house. Not you. Not your dog. Not your ring light. Not for a week. Not for a month. Not until I die. Not after I die. If you want to visit, cool. Give me a date, stay for dinner, leave by 10. Mom's mouth opened. But, no, I said. I love you. No. Brandon's grin got mean. You think you're better, he said softly. You always have. I think I worked for what I have, I said. I think you think that makes me responsible for you. Lila put her phone down. Be serious, she said. It's practical. We'd save $2,000 a month. You won't even feel it. You're buying a luxury place. Don't be weird. Third, I said, ignoring the pitch. If you need housing help, we can talk about a short-term lease in a duplex I know. Market rate. Written lease. Deposit. Quiet hours. No filming. Or you can cut your budget and get a studio. I'll help you make a spreadsheet. Brandon laughed in a way that made my shoulders itch. You're obsessed with paper, he said. You don't care about people. I kept my voice low. Paper is how I protect people from me. So I don't resent them later. So I don't say yes and then bleed out in the bathroom because I can't afford what I promised. He blinked. For a second, something like hearing moved behind his eyes. Lila popped it with, you're so dramatic. Mom tried a different door. What about me? She said, small. Could I stay sometimes? If I'm lonely. Yes, I said. Call me. We'll plan. You'll have a key. It's your own code. That's different. Brandon pointed. Favoritism, he said, like he'd invented the word. No, I said. Boundaries based on history. You don't pay bills. You take. You make content out of my life. You're not coming in. He went quiet. His jaw worked. The air thinned. He stood. You're making an enemy, he said. Of your own brother. I stood too. I'm making a line, I said. Between my life and your channel. Lila scoffed. Okay, dictator, she said. What else? Fourth, I said, sliding the one-page guest agreement across the table to Mom only. Anyone who stays signs one of these. It says things like 2 nights max and no recording devices, and if you break it, you fix it. It's not a trap. It's a map. Mom touched the paper like it might bite. This is so official, she whispered. I am official, I said. With my life. Brandon knocked the folder with the back of his hand. The paper's fanned. You're disgusting, he said. You act like we're strangers. You act like I'm a wallet, I said. He shoved his chair. It squealed. Everybody thinks you're generous, he said. They don't see you counting. I see you counting. I count because no one counted for me, I said. And because you count on me to not count. Lila folded her arms. We'll make our own money, she snapped. We don't need your tiny little house. It's 2,400 square feet, I said, because I'm me. She made a face. Sad. Brandon grabbed his tote. Don't call me when you need content, he said. We'll be fine. I never called, I said. He went to the door. He turned. You really think you're the hero? He said. You're just bitter because we figured out how to live. I think I'm tired, I said. And I'm done. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. He flinched at that. He left. Lila followed, whispering, let him be broke with his spreadsheets. The door closed. Sound rushed back. Mom sat very still. She stared at the guest agreement. I don't like this, she said. I know, I said. It makes me feel like I raised you wrong, she said, voice thin. I moved my chair closer. You raised me to survive, I said. Survival looks like this. She nodded without looking up. He'll be mad, she said. He already is, I said. She put the paper down. Can I still bring candles? She asked, ridiculous and perfect. Yes, I said. Please bring candles. The next morning, I emailed Brandon. Short, clear. Subject, no filming of my life, plus removed budget video. Body, these are my boundaries. Attachments, a real cease and desist drafted by an actual lawyer I paid for out of my family help line item. A reminder that posting identifiable financial documents is a privacy violation, and a list of community resources for housing assistance because I am not a monster. He replied with a middle finger emoji. I replied with nothing. I packed my dishes and the stupid label jar. I picked up my keys. I drove to my closing and signed my name so many times my hand cramped. The pen had a weight I liked. The escrow agent said, congratulations, and I said, thanks, and meant it in a quiet way that felt like standing in a doorway before stepping through. The first week in the new house was noise followed by unusual quiet. Movers in the driveway. Plumbers. The builder doing a last walkthrough, pointing at caulk like it mattered. Then the door closed, and it was my house making house noises. Air conditioner hum. New would crackle. Ice dropping into the freezer like tiny avalanches. I slept on a mattress on the floor the first 2 nights. The island looked ridiculous without stools. I ate takeout sitting on a paint bucket and texted Mom a photo. She sent hearts. She sent proud of you, kid. She sent a candle emoji. Brandon posted 2 more jabs. A short where he toured an IKEA bedroom set and titled it Designing Max's Master for Free. And AQ and a where he answered, would you move in anyway? With he can't stop family. The comments were exhausting. Some people loved him. Some people called him entitled. He loved both. I filed the privacy complaint. The platform took down the live replay within 48 hours. I didn't announce it. I didn't send him a screenshot. I let the silence do the talking. He called me 10 times in one day. I picked up on the 11th. You really think you can censor me? He snapped. I think I can protect my private information, I said. You're a snake, he said. Mom is crying. I saw her yesterday, I said. We ate soup. She has a key. Wow, he spat. So I'm the villain and she's your wife now. I'm hanging up, I said. I'll talk when you're not performing. He was still talking when I did. Lila posted a story of her throwing paint swatches into a trash can. Caption, when family blocks your creativity. She tagged me. I used the block button and felt 20 pounds lighter. Mom visited on Sunday. She brought lasagna and a bag of random things she thinks belong in all houses. A first aid kit, duct tape, 3 tea towels with lemons on them. She walked through the rooms like she was in a museum where touching is allowed. It echoes, she said, clapping once, like she could test happiness with sound. It'll fill, I said. In the kitchen, she put the first tea towel on the oven handle, and I almost cried. Not because of a towel, because something soft could exist in a place I paid for without debt to anyone else's mood. We set up her code on the keypad. She practiced twice. She whispered, I'm not going to tell him. And I said, don't. She didn't. 2 days later, Brandon showed up anyway. He banged on the door. He filmed himself banging on the door. The Ring camera caught him performing. He shouted, open up, landlord. Like a punchline. I didn't open. I texted, not a good time. No filming. He posted the clip with clown music. I sent him one message. If you trespass again, I will call the police. He replied, do it. I did not. I did, however, send my lawyer a note. She drafted a formal letter. No contact without text confirmation. No showing up uninvited. No filming my property. She sent it certified. I paid the invoice and put it in the folder. Work stayed boring, blessedly. People asked about the house. I said, it's good, and showed a picture of the faucet, which is safe. My boss said, you look less clenched, and I laughed because that's exactly the right word. At night, I built furniture with an Allen key like it was penance. I found a rhythm. Boxes, instructions, screw two. Laugh when I did it backward, unscrew, try again. No one asked me for money. No one told me I was selfish. I slept. One afternoon, Mom called and said, "He's saying he'll sue you for emotional rent." I said, "That's not a thing." She said, "He knows," and sighed. She's learning to let his noise be his noise. On day 12, Brandon texted, "We can do a leash short term. We'll be respectful. It'll be good content. JK. Mom promised you'd say yes." I typed and deleted 3 versions of no. I landed on, "I wish you well. I am not your housing plan. If you need resources, ask." He sent, "Wow," and then nothing else. My house got couches. My house got a rug. My house got a dent in the hallway where I misjudged a turn, and I didn't care because the dent meant a life was happening here. Sometimes, late, I scroll. I see Brandon pivoting his channel. He's doing pranks on himself now. He bought a fog machine and set off his smoke alarm. People still watch. He'll be fine. Or he won't. That's not my rent to pay. If there's a moral, it's boring. Count, write it down, say it out loud, and let people be mad. The old me would have chased Brandon across the internet, arguing in comments, crafting a statement, apologizing for tone. The new me bought a broom, swept sawdust, and made pasta. The old me would have let family win as a word over actions. The new me picked actions. Here's what I won't do anymore. I won't let anyone call me petty for keeping receipts. I won't let anyone say lighten up when what they mean is make yourself small so we can stand on you. I won't hand out keys to people who use rooms as sets. I won't apologize for a locked door in a house I pay for. Here's what I will do. I will keep a line item for Mom, because love and history can share a budget. I will keep a guest agreement in the drawer next to the tea towels, not because I expect to use it every week, but because knowing it's there keeps me kind. I will tell the truth when asked. I will say no, like a person who knows what he means. Brandon will have another season. Maybe he'll grow up. Maybe he'll grow followers. I don't get to schedule it. If he calls me without a camera and asks for help writing a plan, I'll help. If he shows up with a ring light, I'll close the door. Simple, not cruel, clean. When I stand in my kitchen in the morning and make coffee, I can hear a sound I didn't know I was missing. It's not silence. It's something like my own voice, not arguing with me. It says, "Good job," sometimes. It says, "You did that." It says, "You can stop checking your phone." Mom still texts too many emoji. She still brings candles. She still slips and says "we" when she means "you." I correct her gently. She corrects herself. We're learning. On moving day, I found the old jar with the stupid label. I put it on a shelf in the pantry. It's empty now. I left the label on anyway. Not as a joke, as a receipt. This isn't about revenge, I told Brandon. This is about closure. It still is. It's also about something bigger that's less dramatic and more useful. Being a grown man who understands that no is not a crack in love. It's the frame. If you're the max in your family, here's your permission slip. You don't owe anyone the master bedroom in a house you haven't even slept in yet. You don't owe the internet your budget. You don't owe content. You can decide what goes where and who goes where and when they leave. You can be generous without being a door. I'm going to buy stools this weekend. Maybe I'll pick the expensive ones. Maybe I'll wait. Either way, I'm the one deciding. That's the luxury, not the island, not the square footage. This, the choosing, the lock clicking at night, the clean line, the quiet that isn't empty. It turns out closure sounds like a code beeping green. It looks like a guest towel folded once. It feels like not bracing. No revenge. Just closure. And a door that opens to people who knock without a camera.